One of my favorite expressions is horses for courses, meaning a person or a thing is suited for one job may not be suited for others. And the gun owning community just completely disregards that wisdom and are looking for taking one optic specific for duty and using it for everything else. The Steiner MPS is one of the premier closed emitter, like mailbox optics in the segment. Are you ready? Stand by. Welcome back to the Humble Marksman channel, the only gun channel here on YouTube dripping with that BDE. That's right, Big Dad Energy. If you had to convince your 4-year-old that his Halloween costume was still cool so that he would wear it on Halloween, go ahead and hit that like button. Seriously, buddy, T-Rexes are still cool and they don't make Octonauts costumes. I'm David and this is the Steiner MPS, or the micro pistol sight. And the Steiner MPS is a closed emitter optic, meaning that the little projector is on the top of the hood inside the thing there. There's a window on the back and there's a window on the front so that nothing can get between the emitter and the lens that it's projecting onto, which is ideal for like a duty use application because, you know, that's a problem. And before we go a whole lot further, I'd like to thank the sponsor for the video, which is Optics Planet. They actually provided this optic to me so I could review it for you guys. So big thank you to Optics Planet. There are a bunch of folks who want to see cool content about guns on the internet, so check out their socials if you want to see what they've got going on, and thanks again. And to be extra mysterious, if you want to text HUMBLE to 80907, then cool things might happen. Now this is my first foray into kind of the closed emitter optic arena, and I wanted to check it out to see what I think about the things. I love shooting dots on pistols, and I've never really been sure about these enclosed emitter things. These things have my curiosity because they're kind of new. I'm just curious, like, do you guys want to see a video comparing like all of the major types of these kinds of things? I've got a Swamp Fox Kraken that I'm going to be doing a review on here shortly. But if you want to see a video comparing like all these together, just go ahead and hit the like button. If this video gets 5,000 likes, I will go out and buy all of them. I'll get whatever the other big ones are and do one big mashup, compare them all type video because these things are kind of interesting to me. So go ahead and hit the like button and be sure to subscribe if you want to see that. So let's talk about the Steiner MPS. Put very frankly, this is one of the best constructed red dots that I have ever experienced, and at this point I have experienced most of them. The craftsmanship, the precision in all of the controls, how it adjusts both the elevation and even the dot up and down intensity settings, like the buttons are like super precise and weighted. It's made one nicer than any of the other dots that you're probably used to. Does all of that matter? Is it even necessary? Arguably not, but I mean, if you're gonna spend $500 on an optic, and that's, I think that's what they're going for on Optics Planet right now at the end of 2022. If you're gonna spend that kind of coin on an optic, you want it to be one of the nicest things that you can get, and I think the MPS really delivers on that. Talking about what makes the MPS so precise, it has the adjustment buttons on the left side of the optic body there, and it is a auto off timer. I forget, I'll put on the screen whatever the auto off is, but it's turned on just by pressing and releasing the button and it's right back on. I used to be in the camp where I was like, there's no way I would use an auto off timer, but then I realized just how easy it is to hit the button on the thing, and I think it's like 13 hours. So I have never taken it out of the holster and had it not be on when I went to put it up for the day. And I carried the thing for quite a while as well, and honestly, I did just fine with it. I think it's a pretty darn nice pistol sight. Now the optic looks kind of like a big block on top of the slide, and it looks like what I'd imagine somebody in the 1980s might describe an email box as looking like. It's just kind of like this future cool techno looking thing, but it just kind of looks goofy compared to the reflex sights once you get used to those. And that said, carrying this thing, carrying it concealed, it does print more, because if you consider a reflex style optic where it's just kind of the hood at the front there, it's right on top of the belt line if you're carrying it inside the waistband holster, and this thing moves that same thickness all the way up to where the rear sight would be. So it actually does provide a bulge on your belt line in a way that a reflex optic doesn't. But that said, because the emitter is enclosed, all the shirt length that would get really hard to get off the back lens of your reflex sight is very easy to get off the rear sight of this. And despite being so large and ready to receive emails, The window itself is not a whole lot bigger than like the RMSC style reflex optics. It's a 20mm by 16mm optic area, which, I mean, despite being so large, isn't that big of a viewable area. The bezel is actually, because the battery is on top, is quite thin on the left and right side of the optic, but quite thick on the top, which is a little bit more symmetrical than the models that have the batteries on the side. So I find that it provides a pretty good shooting experience where it almost fades away in the same way that a reflex optic does when you're trying to shoot fast. Because the emitter is kind of enclosed or whatever, there is a bit of like a tunnel vision type effect, but it is a true 1x magnification, and the color of the lens is kind of a sort of light green gray. It's not too prominent, but the dot intensity is very, very robust. I had no problems keeping up in a sunny late summer Texas day. There's a huge range of adjustability on the dot. It's a 3.3 MOA dot, which seems kind of non-committal, but at the same time, if you're going to pick kind of a middle of the road dot size, a 3's, you know, pretty good. Looking at the 3, the dot doesn't aggravate my astigmatism too badly, although it does aggravate it when I'm not correcting for it with my contacts. It's completely usable, a very clean dot, very crisp emitter. It is easily on the par with some of the SIG electro optics that I've used on my competition guns that I think have some of the best looking dots in the market. Finding an adapter plate to mount the optic onto your gun is a bit of a challenge. The manual specifically says to use a steel adapter plate and not an aluminum one, and that's a problem because most of the Acro plates are aluminum. So I found Forward Controls makes adapter plates that are aluminum, and YouTube, this is an external modification. This does not affect the internals of the gun, so it's cool by your ad policy. But the Forward Controls plate is very well machined and has held the dot brilliantly. So would I recommend this sight from Steiner as a closed emitter optic? Absolutely I would. It is super duper high quality. It is very usable. It's extremely well done. Would I recommend it over another reflex sight? My jury's still out on that one. I want to spend more time with the sights and kind of get used to them, but I mean, it's easy to like this sight because it is so ridiculously high quality. So that is the Steiner MPS or micro pistol sight. Remember guys, like the video and I will go buy all of these dots and do a video for you on them. It'll take a minute, but I'll do it. If you're serious, hit the like button. I appreciate you guys, but I also appreciate Optics Planet for letting me make this video for you guys. So I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next one.